Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome back to Life Trials with EAC. With yours truly. How are you? I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you so much for joining me again, tuning in to this magnificent podcast on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Here on the East Coast of Florida, it is about 2:15 p.m. And in this episode, I have a dear friend here sitting alongside me, Frank Vivicue. Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
You're good. You're good.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me here today.
No, thank you again. And Frank is a real estate agent and mogul, and I decided to bring him here today to discuss the world of real estate in today's market. My friend, what's going on? How are you? How's everything?
Everything's great. The market's blazing. To be honest with you, the inventory's low. So it doesn't really help. Certain areas down here in South Florida, it's down like 40%.
Shit, that's crazy.
Buyers is strong. You go to some of these open houses, there will be 40, 50 people, different groups trying to get in that property.
Holy shit.
So
that's crazy.
When you do the math on that, you look at about 5-6 open houses in a half-mile radius, and you say 40 heads go to each one of those houses. Think about how many families don't have a home at the end of that week.
Well, that's a really big topic of conversation we're definitely going to get into today. And it's really been obviously during, such difficult times with COVID, and apparently the market is still doing fairly well, but there is that lack of inventory, as you had mentioned. And it's interesting how a lot of Northerners are flocking from, Democratic lockdown states, New York, Chicago. All I see is like California license tags and shit. And I just think that it's crazy that
a lot of New York people.
A lot of New York, huh? And I think that it's really important, especially in today's world, to better understand like home ownership and how important it is to own property, whether it doesn't matter how small to the largest, estates in today's market. I think that it is the American dream, and it is very important for people to achieve such success. As I just emphasized, no matter how big or how small you start, it's like one of the best decisions I think anybody can ever make. So I wanted to give my audience kind of a better sense of who you are, who is Frank, the real estate agent from Robert Slack Firm, and if you can kind of go into detail about your background and where you work and why you work with this specific group of people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a Florida native. There's not many of us down here, so that's pretty unique in itself. So I know the market real well. I know the areas, cities, so depending upon what kind of client I'm working with, I can, bring them to the right areas that are going to be best fit for their family or whatever their personal real estate needs are. It's really interesting, real estate in itself. You're helping people make the biggest purchase of their lives. So with that in itself, they can build equity and have things to pass down from, kids or, nephews, nieces, whatever the case may be. Nowadays, people in their 30s and 40s can't afford life insurance, so they don't have anything to really hand down. And with the way that the market's going in some of these areas, some people can't even afford to buy houses anymore.
Yeah.
Because of, perfect example, Florida's a great place.
Yeah.
But the cost of living here
it's shit.
Is horrible.
It is.
You go over there in Cali, those people get paid great, but the cost of living's high.
Yeah.
But they're getting paid. Over here, people don't get paid shit, and we're selling them $300,000-$400,000 houses that need work.
Yeah. And that's a big way to put it, in the sense that there is this lack of, I guess, a better understanding of the market here. People who are from other states don't understand how the market really works down here. I think that's what you were emphasizing, that it is. So it's an unfair playing field in that sense, especially how it is here where you live. You can live in downtown Miami to even Southwest Ranches, and it's just, you can not find a job that is equivalent to the amount of what you should, I guess, acquire with estate or real estate, you could say. So it's not easy to be able to achieve that long-term goal of I guess, acquiring property.
Well, what happens is everybody gets stuck in that rental process, so you do the basic math on it. Once you start paying that other person's mortgage off,
it's crazy.
They come up and you're just stuck in that rental process because you can never save up enough money because of the cost of the living down here. So Seriously. It's kind of tough.
It is. And so how long have you been working in the market? In the real estate market, and what has been your experience? And if you can further emphasize like your background on kind of where you started, why you started, and why is this something that you are very profoundly passionate about?
Great question. I mean, honestly, I used to be in the restaurant businesses. My family owns restaurants. I knew that wasn't a lifestyle I wanted to live, working nights, weekends, always being a slave to the business and always having to be there on holidays, weekends, not being able to be
Italiano? Is it Italiano food?
Yeah.
Ay, qué rico. Italian food, because he's Italian.
Of course. We're the best. So I knew that wasn't the life that I wanted to live, so I had to go into another business that was going to give me an opportunity to be, the business owner / entrepreneur, and real estate kind of gave me that opportunity. Also, I get to, deal with different people, different cultures, so every single transaction or sale, whatever you want to call it, is a different situation. So it's unique in itself.
Yeah.
Keeps the ball spinning.
And do you feel that was it a hard process to get into real estate, taking that exam and stuff like that? Because, I feel that every other person is an agent, is a real estate agent, but it's the sense of that salesmanship, which I see that you acquire that 100%, but you do see a lot of other people that attempt to,
I think the numbers down here in South Florida is about 60,000 agents just in our little area.
No way. Wow. Yeah. Just like in this area?
Out of this, even better statistic, out of the 60,000, there's only 3% are dedicated professionals.
Wow.
So you do the math on how many agents out there giving bad representation to their clients.
Yeah. No.
Not coming from giving them the proper education and, probably negotiating the best for them.
And that's really...
Who you hire matters.
And I think that's really important. I think that the conversations that we've had, I believe that you provide very equipped, entailed, detailed, just by the way that you are and your characteristics, it does show that you do provide your clients the best information that you can attain for them to make the best decision possible with such a big financial decision as to buying property, as small as it may be, or it could be an investment. And so this kind of leads me into my next question as to why do you feel, or maybe you could just emphasize a little bit more in detail why you feel like real estate is more of a career for you versus just a job, that a lot of other people just look at it more as a job versus an actual career.
Okay. So I think the people that look at it as like a job probably sell, I don't know, I think that the statistic number is 3 to 5 houses a year.
Wow.
I try to go above and beyond that, and I sell 25 to 35 units a year minimum.
Wow. You're hustling hard.
Yeah, so I'm out here working a lot more than the average person. So those people are what I call the part-timers.
Yeah.
No disrespect, and I'm not trying to take nothing away from them. Those are just the people that want to live okay. They want to sell just enough to, pay their bills.
Yeah.
But I'm out here trying to, achieve different things, save some money, and go on vacations and help my kids out when they get a little bit bigger.
That's true. And I think that looking at it in that, I guess, lens, it's more, you see the more optimistic sense of that field of work, because I'm pretty sure it does become fairly feisty. And as you had mentioned, there's a bunch of people, especially in this market, just using that as an example.
Right now, the market's so crazy. Working with buyers is very tough. There's not a lot of houses to sell them, to be honest with you. And it's crazy, the stuff that I'm seeing. I'm seeing buyers paying $50,000-$30,000 over appraised value.
Oh my God, that's so sad.
Waiving appraisals. So they're literally buying these houses and they're already in the negative immediately.
Wow.
This is honestly the strongest market I've ever seen people paying what they're paying. It's crazy because you had all these people that were on the fence because the election was coming around. They didn't want to buy. Yeah. Oh, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. The rates were, I was seeing rates at 1.9, 2.2. They're almost giving you this loan for free. People should have been running to the fence and running to the banks and buying houses. Wow. Now the rates are going back up. They're in the 3%, and people are waiving appraisals and paying $20,000, $30,000 over appraised value.
Wow. That's obviously bad, I'm assuming. 'Cause I don't know too much about real estate, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's all's going to depend on how the market shifts. It's going to have a correction. You know, it's a business cycle like everything else. We haven't had a correction since 2009. So if you do the math,
so it's going to crash soon, you think?
I don't think it's going to crash. I think that the value is just going to take like a standstill.
Oh, not a nosedive a little bit? They're going to come down, maybe like, come back in the middle a little bit? Go from 40,000 to maybe like 20,000?
I don't think that the market's going to come down in South Florida is because there's just so many people from out of state relocating here because the way that the state's ran by the governing.
Yeah, okay. And
so
because
Florida's
of COVID,
going to hold strong.
Yeah, and because of COVID, obviously, right? And people are just, that plays the biggest factor, you would say, with your clients?
I mean, I've sold in the past 12 months 3 units to people from New York.
Wow.
So, you know,
and they're like not desperate. We don't want to say desperate, but they want the best.
They wanted to leave. They just didn't like the way that they were living anymore in their own city. And those people have been there their whole lives. So, you know, it's pretty major for somebody to get up and move to another state after they've been living somewhere that they loved for 20, 30 years of their adult lifehood.
Yeah, that is hard to see. I mean, change is always good.
It's not hard. I just hope they leave their voting habits there.
I know, right? But Broward County is very liberal, as a lot of people know. So my most important question is, I really want you to kind of discuss the significance of homeownership, and in the sense of more looking at it generationally speaking, being able to pass this along to your children and to be able to show them that property assets is way more important than materialistic things like cars and jewelry and shit.
The most secure asset you could purchase for longevity and long-term investment is real estate, because the house is never going to go anywhere. I mean, and God forbid, unless a hole comes in the ground and just sucks the house up. But I mean, you got insurance for that, God forbid.
Yeah.
But I mean, real estate's real important because it's the only thing that you're going to have a secure investment on. You know, you can play in the stock markets, but that's up and down, up and down. That's kind of like a gamble. It's a little bit risky.
Exactly.
Real estate, the value can go down a little bit. Let's be real about it.
But it's your home.
But the home's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Within 2 to 3 years, the value is going to be back to where it was. And that's okay, because in another, 6 to 7 years after that, you're going to supersede where you were down.
Yeah.
So in 10 years, the equity that you'd have saved into that house, you could possibly just keep the house, pull the equity out, and use that equity as a down payment on another property.
Wow.
Have somebody else paying the mortgage off on the first property, and you move along onto your next home.
And how do you emphasize that to your children, that property? And I guess, how would you emphasize to them that is more important than a material thing like a car or some fucking Cartier bracelet or something, or some Rolex, or,
I think a lot of people,
or a Porsche and shit. Like,
or two.
Yeah, it's worthless and meaningless.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people they want to live in the Taj Mahal, but they're scared to just live where their budget is.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it comes down to the home ownership, it's okay to have that townhouse in the beginning or that small single family house to get you going. It's kind of like a stepping stone, what I tell people.
Yeah.
This isn't the forever. This is just going to get you on your way to the forever. And you have to use that.
That's a good way to put it.
And at least in the intermediate time, you're building a little bit of equity into that property, and you have something to fall back and pull out if you need it. The values down here in South Florida before this crazy market that we're in was 3 to 5% a year.
Wow.
So, where else are you going to get 3 to 5% on your money? Show me.
Yeah, so that's
nowhere. That's nowhere. You can't get that kind of money back on your investment. And
obviously you have, reiterated that the actual sense of homeownership is way more important than renting. But can you tell the audience why? And especially here in South Florida, as you had mentioned, that just the living costs versus being able to own property and stuff like that. Why have you felt that renting is just not a long-term, I guess, benefit from that?
I mean, there's two ways to look at it. Some people are okay with living the rental life, and that's just their choice. And I think depending upon...
If you're like saving or something.
I was going to say, it depends on, I think, your actual finances and what you make, because some people make enough money to where renting is never going to really affect them. So it doesn't matter. But still, the rich people always purchase.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
To them, they look at it as wasting money. Renting is wasting money to rich people. Exactly. I mean, if you do the math on it, small houses or, little townhouses right now are $2,500, for a decent area and a decent property.
Yeah. In
good condition. So you do the math on that, 2,500 times 12, $30,000.
Yeah.
30,000 in 3 years is 90,000.
Almost 100,000.
That's $90,000 you just paid in rent. You could have paid in your own house.
It's crazy. That is crazy.
That's $90,000 into somebody else's mortgage. You just paid off that guy's mortgage so he could have a retirement down the road. That's the way I look at it.
And I think
it gives you that drive to, do it yourself more.
Yeah.
Instead of putting it in somebody else's pocket.
So that kind of then leads me into how the actual process works with respects to like buying a home and stuff. If you can quickly just, I guess, give us the steps as to how, people go ahead and be able to, how would somebody be able to purchase a home? Like, what should they do?
I mean,
in order to make those things start into, I guess, put into motion, whatever.
And, that's a really good question too, because typically I'll get a lead that'll come in through one of my platforms. Sometimes these people they want to purchase and they have the money to purchase, but they haven't been doing their taxes right for the past couple of years, so they can't even qualify for a loan to purchase the property because the taxes haven't been done yet. So one of the most important steps is going to be to have your taxes in line with your CPA or your accountant, so you're not showing all these write-offs. You have to have you have to show that you're making money, not just writing all your money off so you're not paying taxes.
That's true.
So it's all starting with your taxes, and then from there it's going to be based upon your debt to credit ratio.
Okay.
So credit score you got to work on. You want to be in the 600 pluses bare minimum. 700 is going to get you into a better tier, better rate. So you have to work on a few different things: taxes, your income, and then your debt to credit ratio. Try to pay off your credit cards, keep everything real low when you're on your way to purchase.
Yeah.
And then if you need to use your credit cards after you purchase a home, you make some purchases, but not when you're on the way.
Yeah. And then what is this thing that you said about an appraisal? That's like, getting the value of the house?
Yeah, so anytime anybody ever has a loan or a lender, a mortgage lender,
okay,
giving them a loan for a property, the bank's going to send out a third party, to come out and do an appraisal on the property.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to make sure that the value that they're lending you the money on is actually what the home's worth.
Okay.
So it's good for a buyer. It protects them. But right now we're in a market where people are waiving appraisals just so they can purchase the property because there's so many buyers
that they don't even care.
Doesn't even matter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. Well, I then really wanted to kind of close out this episode today and just kind of get your final recommendations on the market and just your final advices, and if you can tell people how they can contact you and if they're looking for any type of specific property or anything like that. That's your man to go.
Definitely right now, if you're thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months, now is probably going to be definitely the time to do it. And another, I think, 6 to 12 months, we might see the market start to correct itself and it might start to plateau a little bit. So if you want to take advantage of these hot buyers, you need to hit me up, 954-604-0328. We could put a marketing package together tailored for you. Going to get you over appraised value, more than likely, in the market that we're in. You'll love me, the buyers will not, and that's what you hired me to do, is sell your home for the most.
Well, I really appreciate you coming today. and being able to discuss your advice, which I think is highly informative. And I really appreciate you again, Frank, for coming on. Frank is one of my neighbors, and he is super great. It's actually one of the first times I've gotten along with one of my neighbors, so that's a very good thing. So
thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And I just really wanted to thank you guys again for tuning in to Life Trials by EAC with yours truly, and I will see you guys very soon. And if you guys did see my recent Instagram post, if you have any interest on advertising on my podcast, just contact me directly. Okay, bye. Peace out.